Welcome to Yildiz Readings 5D, a hub in which we cover your zodiacs, astrology, twin flame path, moon energy, and more. Should you need a booking, you can go to the link below. And for all information relating to our psychic tarot extension, the information is in the box below. Without further ado, let's take a look at what I see coming through for your zodiac sign. Were we wrapping up 2022? More than likely, we did have Mars, the planet of war, obsession, passion, sitting in the house of Gemini from August last year, where it did then ingress into the house of Cancer, which it is deemed in as detriment, but many of us are super excited at the fact that we get a break of that. Separately, we had Saturn shifting into the house of Pisces, which occurred on the 7th of March 2023. It will remain there in the house until 2025. Separately, our big Pluto ingress into the house of Aquarius did occur last month. This also is going to be a huge subject coming in the collective due to the fact it's going to shift between Capricorn and Aquarius, wrapping up its karmic cycle. It can feel a little bit testing, especially now because it was at the 29-degree point, shifting into 0 degrees of Aquarius. We're still trying to get our footings and getting the PDF of what subjects are going to be really looked at with great detail and really cast out because they're simply not working. Let's take a look at how this month is going to be shaped for us and what we need to be prepared for. Now, what can April bring? Number one, we do have an eclipse occurring this month. Number two, we do have Mercury moving retrograde. We're going to feel that mid-month. We also have Mars sitting in the house of Cancer. That can bring themes of emotions to the surface, and we do need to try and be patient. And I definitely see some themes really playing out in a sense of new beginnings. And I found it really interesting at the fact that we had a new moon last month and we're having another new moon in Aries in two sets. So I really felt as though we were going to start something brand new, have an inkling of it, but really not get the full, momentum of it happening. And I do feel we're going to have more clues to this, but it really started to set the stage last month. And so wherever that Aries placement is for each zodiac, which I'll dive into, what I'm seeing is this hybrid partial eclipse that is going to be occurring on the 20th of April 2023. And I feel it's important, don't make any major decisions if you can. Moon is very emotional. It can be home, family, mother, intuitive energy. And Sun is the identity, the logic, and generally speaking through that, we tend to not have either. So, whereby we can delay making decisions, especially because it's already entering into that shadow phase of Mercury retrograde in the house of Taurus. I think it's really important to, I would say, be optimistic, but be cautious. Really, dot your I's and cross your T's. You could feel that some blessings are coming back to you from the past, but it also can be a time where we're going backwards to go forward simultaneously. But I do see this is a brand new chapter. So I would say by mid-month, try to have your ducks in a row. Try and keep as organised as possible and be aware of those inkling frustrations and tension points where we do have that first eclipse of the year, which is a hybrid. We also are having a full moon in the house of Libra. And I think that's pretty interesting because both the axis of Libra and Aries will be coming about later in the year as the nodes move, and they tend to set the tone of what we have astrologically happening globally. And I did say really at a collective level that feminines do need to be very cautious of how they show up in society, of their safety, their wellness, and being that we're entering April with Mars in the house of Cancer, practice safety, practice self-awareness, try to build people up, try to not pull them down, but very much protect yourself where need be. As we do move into the month of April, we are in the vibration of angel number 4. Separately, we can also look to number 11 for added guidance as we do have it being the 4th month in 2023, breaking down to an 11. Now, what I see coming through for this is we can have this sense that we are feeling very alone, that we're feeling very isolated. This particularly could be because Mars is in the house of Cancer. And so with our endeavors, with our hopes, with our feelings, we can particularly feel misunderstood. Now, 11 is a brand new chapter. We can feel a little bit out of our depth, but know everything is very divinely guided. Alignment is key, but it's a brand new chapter. So again, the tedious frequency of the precipice of change can feel like you are a giraffe trying to gain its bearings. Know that you're not alone and that help is coming. You are going to be attracting in brand new situations. And even if you do feel out of your depth, know that universe has your back. It is the precipice of change that does make us feel very tense. Trust the process. We can feel misunderstood with our feelings, our emotions. And again, Mars can bring volatility to those dynamics. So knowing where Mars in Cancer falls in your chart could be pretty key. And also really getting prepared, because we do have an eclipse this month. And so where you're feeling that there is lack, there are also going to be opportunities. And it's really about getting into alignment, seeking out those situations, having that attention in those areas of your life and enhancing them where need be. The burning question on all of our lips may be, is this month going to be any better? Are we ready? Are we prepared? And what is hidden? And I'm going to cover all of that inside of your zodiac. I will give you tips where I feel are necessary inside of any heavy energy that does potentially come through. And separately, you can book a private session or join a YouTube membership. Let's take a look at your zodiac sign and all the various areas that can play out this month for you. Leo, are we glad that Mars exited stage? I'm pretty sure a lot of you are. Mars was really affecting both your 9th house and your 11th house. Now, there could have been subjects around contracts, partnerships. It might have been money. It could have been bugbears relating to superiors. And also, you do tend to find with Mars in the 11th house, control-related dynamics can come up. Now, we had Mars move through its retrograde. It sat there since August last year. It left Gemini last month, and I'm saying this ever so exhaustedly so, because I'm sure many of you have felt quite exhausted in that department. You can see some reprieve in those areas as we do move into April, and different subjects can be coming up for you. This is about new beginnings, but there can be some worry-wart energy going on, especially because Mars is transiting your 12th house. I would say try to keep your cool, try to not get too paranoid, and some of you can feel there's an urgency to complete things. And also stay out of trouble with hierarchies. This could be problematic, especially with the transiting over the 12th house. But I feel spiritually and emotionally, you can be really quite emotional feeling all these changes. And especially because we do have an eclipse this month, I think it's important to go easy on yourself, especially around the 20th. I generally do give Leos advice based on that area, which I'll go further into within the eclipse update, but generally give it a couple of days. Don't make any rash decisions. It can be highly emotional, and you can feel very foggy and a little bit disorientated, disillusioned, and not really knowing what's up, what's down. So stay tuned for that. Now, big subjects of change can be around your physical purpose or your career this month, and it can have a large attention focus there. Without further ado, let's take a look at love and see what I see coming through for your zodiac sign. Beautiful. So let's take a look at love. Okay, now I can see, especially because we're going to be having a full moon in the house of Libra. It is a Venus sign. Also with Venus transiting through its place in the house of Taurus until the 11th, where it will transition into the house of Gemini. I do feel spiritually a lot of you can be really worried about things. Where is this going? How is this going to go? There can be a distance. So the 9th house can be to do with the fact that a person is at a distance. Maybe where is this going? It could be that you are connected to a foreigner. It may be also that you are, in some sense of a dispute with it and trying to find that balance. I do feel it's going to come to pass where harmony is going to return. But at this point, there can be some real concerns mentally, psychologically, of how you deal with transitions and new beginnings and where you see this going. This can be a wonderful time to transition love, be it you're single or couple, to a next level. But again, the worry wart energy may be that we're doing the other person's job. So we do run the risk of, moving into control related dynamics. I'd say the healthy point would be to really move into that heart space and use the art of communication. There can be misunderstandings, obviously, because Mars is in its detriment. How you see things versus how the other person sees things can be a bit of a bugbear. And also, when we do have our very own personal things going on, we can tend to be affected by that emotionally a lot more. Now, Mercury is moving retrograde this month as well, and those blasts from the past can be coming back. And I do particularly feel that there is an opportunity here to get those bearings back. But I really feel a lot of you are going, okay, what do I want to do in life? Where do I fit into this puzzle? How am I communicating? How am I showing up? And you may need to really review that and make a solid decision as we transition into the following months. So take your time with it. Be patient with yourself. Definite blast from the past. And we will go into the psychic messages further within this update. Now, in life, if you had felt in love, things were extremely heavy, you were having to be responsible all the time, you felt left out in the cold, be it you're in a connection or not, Pluto ingressed out of Capricorn into the house of Aquarius last month. Now, this has entered your relationship sector. Now, this links to marriages, contracts, partnerships. It is at the 0 degree point, especially as we do move into this month. I do particularly feel there can be a lot of changes when it does come to your relationship sector. So if there was delays and you are feeling anxious, it is at the 0 degree point. So particularly many of you can feel that it is really time for some changes. This can bring control and power trips, only because Pluto is quite deep. Pluto can be very superstitious. It wants to know the detail. It's very passionate. It can be secretive and protective, but it also can be the inspector. So it can be, very scorpionic in nature. It can really see what needs to change, but it is going to be on both sides of the coin. So what you may find is when we are facing our shadow inside of a particular house, we actually have revelations of where we had a part in situations and others did too. I do particularly feel you're really ready for a new chapter. You're ready to make bold changes. And this can either be happening to you, but most definitely for you. So stay tuned for those. We will be going through its introduction to it this year, as it does move between Capricorn and Aquarius throughout the year until 2024, where it will sit more permanently in the house of Aquarius. It is a 20-year transit. So most definitely you can find your contracts, your partnerships, your friendships, and your body are all going to go through major changes. Many of you may have very separately had some changes happening in your career sector. Now, if you were finding you were burning the candle at both ends, things weren't going according to plan, or there were disputes, I do feel this can continue for a little bit, but it can ease up. Especially with the one thing I am noticing, depending on the placements and depending on the industry that we're in, there is almost this element where we are doing more than we used to. And so we're trying to find that harmony, especially with this month being a vibration 4. You may feel things are out of sync. You may feel the others do not understand your position or what you do. And I think the issue can be at hand is that everyone is going to feel quite volatile. So I do really believe some of these situations can be a bit of a delay, but the art of communication may be the key. Confusion can be added to that during the eclipse due to the fact that Mercury is going retrograde. So if you were wanting to network, seek other employment, Mercury retrograde is a positive time to do such. I wouldn't say sign on the dotted line at that point in time, but I would really say it's a great time to put those resumes out, because as we do transition to the following month, what it can bring you is added opportunities. The world is your oyster situations and opportunities from the past coming back. Some of us are really going to want to stay in a very comfort orientated zone, even if we see that maybe there is a lack of success in that department. And I think the key is to really tweak the situation, make the cake differently so you can have a better outcome. Lady luck can be on your side in this department where it does come to your career, and there can be some wins, especially where it does come to pay rises. Now, from a point of wellness, eclipses always can and do impact Leos as well as Cancerians, more so due to the fact that it's sun and moon. So, as I'll get into that further within the update, I will mention some tips I'll give for you. So, as I've mentioned previously, give it a couple of days from, I would say, 3 days before the 20th and easy a week after, to really gain your footings and to have some clarity. Try to not pop off. Try to, support yourself in the best possible way you can. I would also say there can be some eating subjects coming up this month for you, as we have placements really in the house of Taurus. As we do move through the Venus transit, Venus is transitioning into Gemini on the 11th of April 2023. And I do particularly feel you can be very, very social. Some of you may choose to join a gym. Some of you also may want to get your wellness back on track. But again, from an emotional point of view, if you are feeling broody, try to keep away from friendship groups or projecting towards other people, because there can be some times where sleep is the best motto. Many of you also can be looking at your wellness and being very critical on yourself. Saturn last month moved into the house of Pisces. And I do feel particularly many of you are sort of in that recovery mode and moving into a brand new way of dealing with any wellness related dynamics. Now, remember, 2024 is in the month of April, a vibration 4. I also saw number 11 coming up for us collectively. So there can be some things that we're tweaking this month where we're wanting to get into some sense of harmony. We're feeling a little bit out of our depth, or we're feeling out of sync. And we're really seeking those solutions throughout this month to find that harmony within our own personal power. And I do particularly feel many of you will achieve that. And sleep, routine, and, having purpose in life are some of those deep compasses that can really aid us through that process. Near the eclipse, you may experience headaches, disorientation, and nervousness, so try to avoid pacifiers during that time. Abundance. I do feel some of you may be socializing quite a bit in the first 2 weeks. I also feel it's key, if you are doing a budget, to really reflect upon it, look over your paperwork, and update your passwords this month. That is because we are moving into a Mercury retrograde, and we will feel that shadow effect by mid-month. Not only are we having that occur, Venus in the house of Taurus until the 11th is really charging through and, finding a way to generate more income. This can be through your physical career, through negotiations, and really through some hobbies and some outlets. I do particularly feel it's quite positive. These can be really looking at the niche marketing, especially if it's a home-based business. I do feel also rewriting those budgets as we do move past the 11th. As we do move further into the month, I would save a little bit back, and that's because Mercury will be going retrograde. Anything that's owed to you may come back during that time. Again, it's probably not the best time to sign a contract, so be cautious towards the later part of the month where it does come to technology and logins, etc. Make sure to check back on your bank statements as we do move into the following month for any discrepancies. Now, entering into this month, we are having the full moon in the house of Libra on the 6th of April 2023. Now, collectively, we can find that we are looking at our wellness. Something can be coming to a head. We can have such in the media. Very separately, what we can find within our own personal zodiacs is key things relating to wellness, love, abundance, balance, and justice. I do feel, as we do look at this at a collective level, I do feel we are going to be really reworking what we can do to keep ourselves grounded, keep ourselves healthy, and to find the most stable way to have a brand new beginning without being codependent. Due to the fact the next moon is going to be a hybrid eclipse, which I'll get into in a moment. Let's take a look at how this links to your zodiac sign and what I see coming up for you with the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April 2023. Now, this can be an interesting time as we do move towards the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April 2023. I did say you could have some spendings, and that can be on lavish big ticket items. Separately, this could be on vehicles, technology. This could be where you feel physically it's time to upgrade those things. That can be refrigerators, televisions, contracts. It could be some information that comes in. And you're about to sign a contract that's really going to take you to that next level, especially surrounding home and family. I do particularly feel this also can be a time where you air the dirty laundry. Like I said, with Mars and Cancer, we do need to be cautious. There may be some subjects that we're tying up, signing of new contracts, completing an old chapter, and definitely some heart-to-hearts with friends, loved ones, and family can come up at this time. Now, the very first eclipse of the year has come in two sets. The moon is deemed as a black moon, is because we had two new moons in one set being Aries. Now, this is the first eclipse of the year, being a hybrid partial solar eclipse in Aries on the 20th of April 2023. Now, it's also at the critical degrees, and being a new moon, I do particularly feel this can be something quite radically changing very quickly, especially because this is your first house of self. This could be a time in which, with Mercury retrograde, don't do anything drastic when it does come to your hair, your makeup, plastic surgery. I would pause. Now, Mars wants to go in where, it wants to move forward. It's in a hurry. This would be the time where benefits from the past can come. People can appreciate you. You have large revelations to do with yourself. Also, where you're living, feeling, sensing, intuition can come up. But I would say don't rush. I do particularly feel, because we do have situations retrograding at this point, and this is eclipse, as much as possible, we may find that there's more information coming to us, and this can really aid us through having that brand new direction and confidence for the future. I do particularly feel for you at a personal level, this could be anything to the degree of gaining confidence, having clarity, making a conscious choice of a brand new way that you're going to be, defying the odds, so to speak, not putting up with rubbish. This also could be image changes, quite radically so. And I do particularly feel you could be putting your foot down and saying, I know what I want and I've life and I'm going to go and get it. Status also can come into this. So you could go to rags to riches, riches to fame. Again, I would take time with that. This also can be engagements, and personal changes that you physically go through your own personal status. But I do feel it can be greatly healing, and confidence can resurface yet again. Don't be surprised if you do go down the rabbit hole of emotions during it, but it is really going to set the stage. And once we unpack and digest what that is, you may very well find that as we proceed through the next 6 months into 2025, really, because the nodes will be shifting by such that new tone for your life, both with your marriages, contracts, partnerships, and yourself, you versus other people, is going to look extremely different. Get ready for that 180, baby. Now, I already mentioned this twice, and we're going to dive into some of the tips I have for you during this eclipse. Now, as I mentioned, you being a Leo, you're linked to the sun. Cancer also is moon, which can be family and home. I do particularly feel that you at a personal level may be second guessing yourself during this time. You are, within your zodiac sign, have high intuition, really you are the type of energy that will move forward. Okay, so one thing I can say is during this time there's going to be a lack of clarity, there's going to be a lack of direction. You could particularly feel that you definitely know what you're doing, definitely know where you're going, and I would say tread very carefully. Go slow, try to not be an ego. You can experience headaches. I would give yourself a few days. If you are feeling anxious, try to avoid using pacifiers. This can be beverages, pacifiers, etc. Speaking in code due to society these days. The other thing I would do is to do any meditation prior. I probably would not do any spiritual baths. If you are going to do them, I would do them prior and after. You want that energy to transfer through you so you can have a deeper comprehension and to purge it out. It is a new moon, so hydrate yourself and definitely be careful around fire. Make sure that you are going slow, you're not rushing, and you're giving yourself a moment to really digest and unpack what these things are. I definitely feel this is a new beginning for you. You could feel very nervous, but you could feel also very excited. So good luck, and I'll see you through this next chapter. Now, Mars had been roaring through your 11th house since August last year. So potential conflicts with finances, with friendships, with large projects, with handling those things, friendship groups, and also superiors. This also could have been if you were doing a lot more and not getting paid for it. You may have had a lot on your shoulders. You also may have had subjects to do with control coming up. The 11th house is a little bit of a bugbear, or it does come to that, and it could have been people projecting control towards you, or you, unbeknownst to you, being controlling due to a frequency that you were embodying. I do feel some of you also felt that you didn't have a lot of time. You also may have felt tired. Mars last month transited into the house of Cancer, and although it is deemed as in its detriment in this position, Mars powers through. Cancerians want to sit with it, feel it out. They're very intuitive, very emotional. So add those two combinations together, and it is transiting through your 12th house. You particularly could have some very bold changes coming, and this can be almost like your old life slipping away, and fair-based frequency to do with death and life and new beginnings. It could also be ancestors transitioning over, but very separately. In particular, there could be a fixation on what to do next. 12th house is the house of gurus. There could be an anger also to do with your spiritual belief systems. Are you on the right track? Are you not? Should you have faith? Should you not? It is going to pass. Creatively, I can see that there may be a time to slow down. Even though Mars is wanting you to rush, you're going to have this push-pull dynamic. Jump in the deep end, go and where angels fear to tread. Wait, it's safe. I feel there's a healthy medium, and I feel you may find it, but also know that we can never go backwards, we can only go forwards, and I think that is the key. Your attention will be on the future and on confidence, and this can increase as we do move through this month with our eclipse in Aries. Now, yes, Mercury is entering into the house of Taurus on the 3rd of April 2023. We're talking money, we're talking purpose, love, romance, communication, and yes, as we talk about Mercury going retrograde, this also could be blasts from the past, so stay tuned for that. Big changes in your career, beautifuls. Now, can it be purpose? Yes, it can. What do I want to do? What do I want to be? How do I want life to be? It is linking to your 10th house of purpose, so it can be a change of role. During its retrograde, this can be a revisit to old situations. It can be a reworking, renegotiating, retweaking. Do I stay? Do I go? Great time as it moves retrograde if you're really unsure to sit with it and digest it. Try to have patience around your employment sector. And where it does come to where you need to be in life and where you desire to be, try to also have patience with that. Keep the communication very transparent. Double check all emails, double check your passwords, re-sign into apps, etc. because yes, we do need to be more cautious. I would say be cautious around gossip as well, because it is Mercury, but I do feel there's some positive things coming through the ethers. Now, if you're really unhappy with your place of employment, you may find as it does move direct, you decide to pull the pin. If you already know, I would say during this month, try to, by mid-month, put the resumes out, and the following month, choose which one feels more appropriate, and then go into signing should you feel it's fit. Let's take a look at some of the psychic messages I have for your zodiac sign, and then if you do wish to get the extension, you can go through to our YouTube membership or read the information below for the Psychic Tarot extension. Without further ado, let's take a look at your psychic update and what I see coming through for you. Change, change, change. I really do feel your I can't even say your motto. Things that are happening to you are happening for you. It may not necessarily feel that way. You still could feel fairly tired. You still could feel this month that a lot is popping off, a lot is changing, and you can't move fast enough. I also feel the way you're relating to individuals is changing. The way you're feeling towards individuals is different. The old saying goes, distance makes the heart grow fonder, but I also feel it's to do with the painting a perspective. By stepping back, we can actually look at where we're going, we can look at what we're wanting to achieve, and I feel by doing such, it's going to give you the true clarity of how you feel and the amount of investment you have and what you're willing to give and what you're not. And I do feel there's big question marks that you do have this month, and you're really wanting answers to them, but something inside of you also is changing. I do feel you may surprise people, and you may go into hermit mode for a little bit to directly reflect upon what you feel is going to be best for you. I also feel there can be some grand surprises that you never expected, and some appreciation for things that you have really placed hard work into. Some of you are directly feeling unappreciated, and I also feel before Mercury goes retrograde, I do feel somebody's going to tell you a little bit of a home truth, but I don't feel this is a bad thing. I feel it could be a gratitude statement. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for initiating this. I just get this very gratitude orientated frequency coming through. So tell me how it lands for you. Super excited. Some of you could get engaged this month. It may be a statement piece or an inkling from a love interest. And I also feel some of you are going to be bumping into a person. But this person feels to be somebody very old. Now, this is way back. This can be an old flame. It could have been an old friendship. But I'm definitely seeing it to be a very, very social month for you. And out of nowhere, I definitely see surprises. I'm not going to lie, Leo. I definitely see surprises. I do feel keep you cool. I do feel if there is also a surprise, and I don't know why I'm hearing lock your door. Make sure that you're security conscious this month, because I just feel there's an individual that you're not really wanting to see. This is somebody different that they're showing me here, and they're very aggressive. So make sure to be security conscious, especially when you're coming home at night. Now, if you do want to join us for your psychic update, your psychic tarot, come through and we'll see what comes up. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership for your Psychic Tarot extension. Come through and take a look what I see coming through for you. I hope to see you through on the other side in our YouTube membership.